Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 76 of Showfield. Today we'll be going over the first episode of Daemons of the Shadow Realm. So, I ended up picking up this anime because it was actually a very new one. The first episode was released just 6 days ago, actually, on April 4th. It'll be 7 days ago when this video comes out. But, yeah, so I picked this up because I heard that it was by the same people who did Full Metal Alchemist. So I was like, I'll take more of that any day of the week because I love Full Metal Alchemist. I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I didn't end up reading the manga, but yeah, I just watched Brotherhood instead. And it was great. I loved every second of it. I highly recommend Full Metal Alchemist to anyone. It's phenomenal. But that's a very generic statement because, I mean, everyone loves Full Metal Alchemist. I've never heard anyone like diss it or anything like that. Yes, I want to pick it up since I heard that it was from the same people. So I just kind of go over the story briefly. So we start off the episode with a pair of twins being born. And we see as their grandma kind of like prophesies that these will be the ones who can control the Daemons. And then after that, we go to a perspective of their father, where we see as he is mentioning how these are the ones who have sundered the moon and sun. And so after that, we ultimately go into the perspective of a character by the name of Yuru, Y-U-R-U, so Yuru. And so we see Yuru, and he is out hunting. He ultimately ends up catching a little pheasant, and he comes back to town, and we see that he lives in kind of like a medieval Asian level town, like some Middle Ages Asian town looking. Kind of, we don't really see any developed technology. We see horses, we see people carrying like backpacks and stuff. We don't see any vehicles, don't see any modern technology. Just, like I said, very Middle Ages stuff. And then we meet up with his friend by the name of Donji, and they kind of really talk about what they're going to do with the pheasant, make him some hot pot or something like that. But, yeah, so Donji is actually not related to him, because when I first saw it, I was like, is Donji his brother? But no, Donji is not his brother. They just live together, because, as we see later on, Yuru ends up going up to the house where he meets up with Yamaha, which is the grandma that was there when the twins were born. And we learn that that is Yuru's grandma, so Yuru is one of the twins. We see that he has very crimson red eyes, blonde hair, and it really is really cool design overall. And we kind of see as they talk briefly, yap it up a little, and then ultimately he ends up asking if Asa has been up to her duties and been doing everything good. And Yamaha's like, yeah, she's doing them perfectly as she always does. So he goes down there, and we see that Asa, who is his sister, is in like this cage thing. She's just sitting there, so I don't know what duty she's doing, but she's sitting there doing her duty. She has the crimson eyes like him, and almost kind of like Karabika's eyes and the Nostrad family's eyes. But I don't think the Nostrads actually have not irises, but pupils. I can't remember. I know in the manga they don't have pupils. They don't have like distinct pupils, but in this they have pupils. I know it's nowhere near like no adjacency, but like still, I just kind of thought that was a little bit of a relativity, but. Yeah, so we see he goes down there and talks to her, and they yap it up briefly, and then we just kind of learn that she is the younger sister of Yuru. So, at first, this isn't really like, we didn't really discuss that first, because we don't get information about her being his little sister until a little bit later on in the episode. But, so at first, I presumed that these were the twins. So, even though she did look quite a bit younger than him. But then we see, as Yamaha mentions, how Dara is coming into town. So we see it as, we go to Dara's perspective, he is a wandering trader. He's just kind of going around, trading some stuff, and, like, giving people medicines and all of that. And he's very much so loved by the community. And we see as, what should we call it? Yuru ends up walking in there, and he's like, you got anything for, he's like, I don't need anything myself, but do you have any fun souvenirs for Asa? Which Dara already knew because Dara has communicated with him so much, and ultimately he ends up giving her this little like ball, giving Yuru this little like ball thing to ultimately give to Asa. So we see this, and then we get a perspective of Yuru and Donji back out in the fields, and they're just working together, doing their thing, and just we see as they're kind of yapping it up, and they're mentioning how one day they're possibly actually, first we see Asa. Well, when Asa and Donji were together, we saw them talking, and Asa was slightly worried that, Yuru would have to leave town to. And all these names are so close to Chainsaw Man names. You have Yuru, which is close to Yoru, then you have Donji, which is close to Denji, and then you just straight up have Asa. I'm like struggling here a little bit, but we see Donji, and. We see Yuru talking to Asa, and he's like, no, I won't have to leave town because I will have the people rely on me for hunting here in town, so I will not have to leave you. He's like, I'd never leave you, Asa. So back to where Donji and Yuru are talking, and they're kind of briefly kind of discussing that, and Donji's trying to convince Yuru to leave town and allow him to go with Asa. He's like, no, if you were around Asa, you would just taint her. They're getting a little bit of an argument. And then we get a perspective overhead, and we see as like a ripple effect happens over the sky, and then a barrier breaks. Now, back at the beginning of the episode, we had seen what we know as chemtrails. We saw chemtrails in the sky, but Yuru, I guess, passed them off to be dragon farts. Now, though, we see that they can see it. A barrier around their village has been keeping them from noticing an outside advanced technology for some reason. We don't know why. We don't learn why in this episode, but they have been kept from the outside world. And then we see as it breaks down, they actually see a jet, and they're like startled. They don't know what this is. And then they see a helicopter as well. The helicopter comes down. People start descending, and they're killing people. They're killing up many people in the village. We see as they go around startling people. We see as Donji and Yuru are trying to escape and all of that. And we also see as Dara is like taken in the woods, and we see a brief clip, and we presume that he is killed and shot. But then we ultimately end up going to a character by the name of Gabby. Gabby is a seer, and she has this ability which allows her to just take chunks out of people. She points at him and she goes, gobble. And one time she's going like gobble, 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 and it's just like ripping chunks out of people. She bites someone's like specifically their neck off, and like by side it was a mom and a child, rips the neck off, the woman's head falls down, and we just see her taking chunks out of everyone. Like, this is crazy. She doesn't kill the kid though, because she's like, I won't kill kids, even though she'll kill their mother right in front of them, which is insane. But yeah, so we see this, and we see that Gabi is obviously very powerful. Now, ultimately, after this, we see as Donji and Yuru are like, okay, we need to escape. And at the front of the village, they have two statues which are known as the Guardians of the Right and the Left. And Yuru pulls up here, and he's like, okay, we need to go inside, because he knew this little like secret area to ultimately get to Asa, and he wanted to go and protect Asa. So they go down there, and we see as Dara actually survived, and he knows how to use this technology. So we can presume that there was some greater conspiracy to keep the people of the village out of the loop of things. Because we also see later on that Grandma Yamaha seems to understand this stuff too. She's not really surprised by the technology. But other people are of the village, like Yuru and Donji. So I'm really wondering what was going on there with the technology and why the barrier existed. Because outsiders know what it is, but yet they're not telling people of it, nor are they bringing it into the people. So I wonder what that was about. But we see Darren, he goes about, and he's like taking people out. He ultimately runs up on Gabi, or Gabby, not Gabi, but runs up on Gabby, and they have a little brief scuffle, but he ultimately ends up running away and escaping, and without getting bit. And so they run off. Well, he runs off, and ultimately he ends up heading back to Yuru's house. And we see as he runs down, and we then see as Yuru and Donji, predominantly Yuru, Donji kind of stayed back and stayed with his mom, because his mom lives in the same house, so he ended up going to his mother and watching over her. We see as Yuru goes down to where Asa is to check up on her. And we then see another character there. She has an eye patch on, black hair, and crimson eye. And we see as she's talking with the Asa in the cage, and she just straight up slams her. She straight kills her, because she's like, you are not the real Asa. And Yuru comes in and says, Asa! And the woman turns around, and she looks like she could be a lot closer age to Yuru. And then she reveals that she is the true Asa. She is the true twin. So somehow Yuru and Asa ended up getting separated to where Yuru was left to remain in this like Middle Ages village, while Asa was able to live in like the more advanced world. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know why they got separated, but obviously Asa has a vendetta against this village, and she's like, we're gonna kill everyone in this village besides Yuru. So we see them briefly talk, and then we see as Grandma Yamaha comes up, and then as they're briefly discussing all that, and Yuru's like, I won't believe it, we see as like some like phantasm comes out of the little Asa's blood and like wraps around the real Asa, which she's ultimately able to get free of. But then we see as Yuru is found by by Deda, and Deda comes up and grabs him, and they go running off. And while they're doing this, they're getting shot at by people in the helicopters. Ultimately, they get behind the statues of the right and the left, and they're kind of crouching there. And we see as Yuru's kind of breaking down a little bit, but Dara is ultimately like, hey, you got to lock in, and we're going to do this. We're going to get out of here. We're going to get you safe. We're going to save you. And he ends up handing him his this jade amulet of the left and right statue. And Yuru's like, what am I supposed to do with this, bro? And he's like, put it in that hole over there. And Yuta runs over to it, and they're not shooting him because they've been tasked with capturing him. So if they kill him, they fail their mission. So they're not shooting at him. They're still making sure that Dara stays behind the statue. And he's like, "It's full of trash. What do I do?" And he's like, "Dig it out, bum." So he starts digging him out, and he puts it in there, and nothing happens. He's like, "Bro, what happened?" Then we see his Dara walks up, grabs Yuru's head, and slams it in the ground. And this shows that Yuru must have special blood of some sort because his blood was needed to activate this amulet. And so then we see as two like spirit beings release from the twin statue, or the right and the left statue, the right and left, and they take down the helicopters. Then Dara and Yuta end up running off and escaping. So then after this, we see as they kind of recover a little bit, and then Dara explains what just happened. So because of Yuta's blood, he was able to summon and control the demons, Daemons in general. And with this, we see as two really cool demons. They have like white and red hair, really cool designs. One of them female, one of them male, and they are summoned. And now they are the, I guess, not really property. Daemon is the Yuta is the controller and like master of these Daemons now. They're kind of disappointed that he's a kid, but they're like, he looks agreeable enough. So see this, and that is the last scene of the episode. So this first episode was phenomenal. Like, great first episode. I loved it. I cannot wait to watch more. The next episode will probably come out pretty soon. I'd say within the next couple of days. So you'll be getting a review on that as soon as I can get it up and watch the actual episode. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, the art style was legit just like a modernized Full Metal Alchemist. Like, it wasn't modernized in the sense that it changed a lot. It was just modernized in like the vibrancy and like more texture stuff of modern anime. Because like the art style was still very much the same and very much intact. So I really enjoyed that. And the outro song is goated, just like all Full Metal Alchemist intros and outros. So yeah, it was a great episode, and I loved it. I cannot wait to watch more. But yeah, that's all there really is for Daemons of the Shadow Realm, episode 1, and all I really have for episode 76 of Shelf Review. So thank you very much for watching.